The Titanic. A comprehensive examination introduction. The RMS Titanic is perhaps one of the most iconic passenger liners in maritime history, its story marked by ambition, luxury, tragedy, and lasting legacy. The vessel, considered the epitome of early 20th century engineering and craftsmanship, became a symbol of human achievement and human error when it sank on its maiden voyage in April 1912. The Titanic's story is one of grandeur, the quest for innovation, and a cautionary tale on the limits of human endeavor against nature's formidable power. This exploration of the Titanic's history will delve into its origin, design, construction, maiden voyage, catastrophe, aftermath, and its enduring legacy, illustrating the multifaceted narrative that surrounds this infamous vessel. Chapter 1. Historical context: the age of ocean liners. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, transatlantic travel became increasingly popular. With the advent of steamships, crossing the Atlantic Ocean that had once taken weeks or months could now be accomplished in a matter of days. The competition amongst shipping companies, especially the British, was fierce as they sought to attract wealthy passengers who wanted safety, speed, and luxury. Companies like Cunard and White Star Line invested heavily in producing ocean liners that would not only transport but also impress. The White Star Line, founded in 1845, was renowned for its cargo and passenger services. Its fleet included vessels like the Oceanic, Britannic, and Celtic, which were known for their comfortable accommodations. By the early 1900s, the company started to conceptualize even grander projects to dominate the transatlantic market. In 1907, J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of White Star Line, commissioned a new class of ships intended to be the largest and most luxurious ever built, an ambitious response to Cunard's successful Lusitania and Mauretania. This initiative gave birth to the Olympic-class liners, RMS Olympic, RMS Titanic, and RMS Britannic. Chapter 2. Design and construction of the Titanic: vision and ambition. The design of the Titanic was spearheaded by the renowned shipbuilder Harland and Wolff, based in Belfast, whose dry docks were utilized for this monumental task. With Thomas Andrews as the chief designer and J. Bruce Ismay emphasizing luxury and opulence, the Titanic was envisioned as a floating palace. Blueprint and features: the Titanic was designed with a length of 882 feet and a gross tonnage of 46,328 tons. It boasted advanced safety features like watertight compartments and electronically operated watertight doors, which were touted as measures to prevent the ship from sinking. Luxury amenities. 1. First-class accommodations. ***. The Titanic featured lavishly decorated first-class cabins, a grand staircase, a swimming pool, a Turkish bath, and a fine dining room that rivaled the best restaurants on land. 2. Second and third class. ***. The second-class accommodations were comfortable and well-appointed, while third-class are steerage aimed for basic comfort for immigrants and travelers looking for affordable transport. Construction timeline: construction of the Titanic began in March 1909, and it took about 2 years to complete. The ship was launched on May 31, 1911, amid great fanfare and spectacle. Hundreds gathered to witness the momentous occasion. However, after the launch, fitting the ship with its interior took an additional year, primarily focusing on the extravagant details meant to entice passengers and showcase technological progress. Chapter 3. The maiden voyage: setting sail. After extensive sea trials, Titanic finally set sail on its maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, from Southampton, England, en route to New York City. The ship made scheduled stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, now Cobh, Ireland, before heading across the Atlantic. Aboard the Titanic were approximately 2,224 people, including passengers, crew members, and officers. Among the passengers were many notable figures, including John Jacob Astor IV, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim, all of whom were part of the elite. Life on board: life aboard the Titanic was characterized by opulence. First-class passengers experienced unparalleled luxury, dining in fine restaurants with cuisines crafted by world-class chefs, enjoying music from the ship's orchestra, and socializing in extravagant lounges. Second-class passengers enjoyed a pleasant experience as well, with comfortable cabins and meals that were considerably better than those typically served in steerage on prior liners. In contrast, third-class passengers experienced basic conditions, yet the ship aimed to provide them with dignity through organized dining areas and social spaces. Chapter 4. The iceberg collision, the fateful night. On the evening of April 14, 1912, Titanic was navigating through the North Atlantic. Despite warnings from other vessels about the presence of icebergs in the region, the ship maintained its speed. At approximately 11:40 p.m., the lookout spotted an iceberg looming dead ahead. The impact: in a matter of moments, Titanic collided with the iceberg on her starboard side. The impact resulted in a series of punctures along 6 of the ship's watertight compartments. The ship was designed to float even if 2 compartments were breached, but the extensive damage meant that Titanic was taking on water faster than anticipated. Chapter 5. The aftermath of the collision, the evacuation. As the gravity of the situation became clear, Captain Edward Smith ordered the lifeboats to be prepared and initiated evacuation procedures. Unfortunately, a combination of societal norms, disbelief about the ship's viability, and panic hampered the evacuation process. Despite having lifeboats for only half the passengers on board, many were not filled to capacity due to confusion. The ship listed to the side as it took in more water, exacerbating the challenges of getting passengers safely onto the boats. Chapter 6. The sinking. The final moments. As the ship continued to take on water, it became evident that Titanic was doomed. Passengers and crew faced overwhelming chaos, with many resolutely believing that the unsinkable ship would not go down. The ship's stern began to rise out of the water as the bow submerged. Passengers were left scrambling for their lives. At approximately 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, the Titanic broke apart and sank into the icy depths of the North Atlantic, taking over 1,500 people with her. Chapter 7. Rescue and aftermath, the Carpathia's arrival. The RMS Carpathia, a nearby ship responding to distress calls, arrived at the scene around 4 a.m. It rescued 705 survivors from the lifeboats, but the grim reality of Titanic's fate became clear as the number of casualties was tallied. The world responds. News of the disaster shocked the world. Reports of the lives lost shocked the public, spurring outrage over the apparent failings of the ship's safety protocols and the lack of lifeboats. Chapter 8. Investigations and inquiry, the official inquiries. Both the United States and the British conducted thorough inquiries into the disaster. The investigations revealed crucial failings: insufficient lifeboats, crew training deficiencies, a lack of adequate safety measures, and a culture of speed over caution. The impact of findings. The findings led to significant changes in maritime laws regarding safety. New regulations required ships to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and mandated improved safety drills and communication methods to avoid future tragedies. Chapter 9. The legacy of the Titanic, cultural impact. The Titanic disaster has been immortalized in literature, film, and art. Numerous books have explored its story, and films, most notably James Cameron's 1997 blockbuster, have expanded its lore, evoking both the tragedy and the romance of the ship. Titanic memorials. Various memorials have been established in honor of those lost, including the Titanic Memorial in Belfast, which pays homage to the ship's builders and crew, and the American Titanic Memorial in Washington, D.C., honoring the victims. Chapter 10. Exploration and discovery. Search for the wreck. The wreck of Titanic was a mystery until it was finally discovered by Robert Ballard in 1985. The discovery revealed the ship's remains on the ocean floor, approximately 12,500 feet deep, and opened the door for further study about late 19th and early 20th century maritime practices. Preservation and artifacts. Since its discovery, numerous expeditions have been conducted, recovering artifacts and generating a greater understanding of the vessel's final moments. Many of these artifacts are now housed in museums, serving as poignant reminders of the ship and its legacy. Conclusion. The story of the RMS Titanic is one of human ambition, engineering prowess, and the sobering reminder of nature's power. It is a narrative that examines attitudes towards safety and the ego of human achievement against formidable challenges. The Titanic continues to captivate the imagination, serving as a stark reminder of both the heights of human creativity and the depths of tragedy. The legacy of the Titanic lives on, not just as a maritime disaster but as a lesson for future generations, emphasizing the importance of safety, vigilance, and humility in the face of progress. References. 1. Ballard, Robert D. Explorations. The Voyages of Dr. Robert Ballard. National Geographic, 1991. 2. Lord, Walter. A Night to Remember. Henry Holt and Company. 1955. 3. Cameron, James, director. Titanic. Paramount Pictures, 1997. 4. The Titanic Inquiry. The official report of the British inquiry into the loss of the Titanic, 1912. 5. Payne, Chet. Titanic. The Story of the Unsinkable Ship. Scholastic Inc., 2012.